What's up? What is up? Gotta follow up on these for my full on actual official review on what I think of these as far as quality and how they're gonna hold up. As you can see, both sets been getting heavily used. The lighting in here is not the greatest, but I'm sure you can tell that the tips on these are starting to get that they've been used patina going on them right around in here. Let's see if we... Yeah, it just doesn't show up very well, but you'll see a little slight change in hue from certain angles. Most of these have very little nick damage except for hard contacts. Like that spot right there was caused from knife to knife contact in the target. There's a few of those here and there. One right there in the edge of the blade next to the handle from another hard contact. But these things, I've got hours in with them, and I am just mind blown with how much these have improved my throwing. The shape on these things works great. I basically spent the first several days just working no spin hardcore with these. And I would spend a few minutes here and there throwing these with half spin techniques as well. I kind of struggle with these a little bit with the full spin just because they're so small for me. But I'm not really interested in full spin as much as just no spin main technique and being able to go military on a quickness as well. They're just the best throwing styles for what I want knife throwing to be, which is one, something that I can have fun with throwing at targets, but secondary to be a self-defense option. And basically within the range that I'm going to be throwing at for self-defense, half military half and no spin, especially with the appropriate knives, is going to be the best option. But I am just flat out amazed with, over the couple of days of playing with these no spin, I literally have improved how much I can control these now, because I've gotten used to the thicker blades. The AceJets are definitely thicker than this one is, and so it makes this one a little bit more easy to handle. The other thing is, with using this, as you can see, look at how wide that is for your finger for no spin. Just makes a world of difference to be able to get that knife on that finger and know that when you're throwing it, it's going to come off of that the way that it's supposed to. And it makes blades that are harder to throw a little bit easier to control, because you've basically used it to control and train yourself with something that is definitely a lot easier. And basically figuring out the concept is going to make a world of difference in everything overall. So I will definitely say, if you're thinking of pulling the trigger on AceJets and you're into knife throwing and you don't want big, long, honking knives, you want something that's substantial but controllable in a small enough package that it's going to do the job, hit up AceJet. I'm actually so thoroughly impressed with these guys and their quality. I've actually got one of their sharp blades on the way as well. Just picked up the 12-inch Celtic ring knife that AceJet makes. So sometime within a week or so, I will be doing an unboxing video and showing that off. I don't intend on taking it out and throwing it and abusing it every day, but it is nice to know that I have a daily carry sharp blade, that if I don't feel like carrying a half a dozen blades on me, I have one that's a good all around, it'll do anything and everything I want it to do blade. And that is the purpose of the Celtic ring knife. The other thing is it'll also accent some of my other knives for just in case scenarios. As anybody knows, with the way that the world is these days, it's just a matter of time before the chaos that is in other places makes its way to the U.S. We're definitely not making any friends in the world because of some of the people's political views in this country, and it is an outright damn shame. Don't get me started on that one, but just better to be prepared. Hence the reason why I've got that on the way. We're not going to get into that subject on this video, period. And I don't want to see any of that kind of comments out there on this video either. It's just not something that this video deserves, plain and simple. So just keep that shit to yourself. But yeah, AceJet, definitely worth it. Definitely something that you're going to appreciate. It is just mind-blowing how much throwing these for several days, with the amount of hours that I throw some days, how much of a difference just 1 week has made. Because I went from wondering if I would be able to daily carry these or not, to being way more comfortable with these than I thought I would be. So they've made a world of difference. Ironically enough, one of the people that helped design these has made another knife that I think might be more up my alley and is a very similar to this shape knife. Adam Cheladine's Sharp Blades Piranha No Reload knife is about 1.5 inches shorter, which would make it a better knife for no spin, because this one's a 12-inch. It is definitely point heavy by a little bit, because as you can see, the balance point on this is definitely just a little forward on the point, because you can see there, and the contrast of what I'm throwing here, this one is handle heavy. So just amazing that this improved my ability to throw this. Awesome. So that brings me to my final piece of advice. Even if you don't spend the chunk of change for the AceJets, at least get something on par with this. You know, spend a little bit more and get that high quality knife and start with it from the get-go, because these make a world of difference in being able to throw and control compared to something like a Smith & Wesson Bullseye or any of these precision point knives that you're going to be able to get. And there are a few cheaper knives out there that you can work with, but in my honest opinion, just spend a little bit more, get a better knife. You're going to appreciate it. Take it from someone that's basically spent the last year throwing money at throwing knives. And I'm just wondering why I didn't go ahead and spend money on one or the other of these from the get-go. I think it was just instant gratification and just the blind idea of wanting to do something and thinking that you can get away with doing it without spending a fortune. So, if I'm going to go ahead and give at least a little bit more advice on knives, I've got one more thing for you. I actually had just done a video talking about tips for beginners and things like that. And one of the things that I had mentioned was getting a good set of files, right? Well, you've got these big monstrosities that everybody thinks of when you think of regular standard files. And then you can get, pretty sure this is a chainsaw sharpening file. These come in 3 different sizes. It's going to be the thickness of the actual file itself is the sizes. What I like about these is these will get into places that bigger files won't. And that brings me to these. This is another set of needle files. And these are going to come in, this is a 12-piece set. There is 12 different shapes of file. Some of them have flat on both sides. Some of them are kind of convex. You've got round ones, but this one even kind of has a freaking point to it that you can file all the way down into fine little detail edges on a knife. Anybody that is a knife aficionado that knows that you need to work out stuff on your knives, and these things are going to be priceless, knowing that you've got all of these little files to work with. And the reason that I say you want one of these little sets is, so look at the difference between, if we get, where is, let's just get the bastard file out. Don't know where my normal file that I use is, but so you've got this monstrosity. Can you imagine trying to do fine detail work with a big old beast like this as compared to something like this, where you're controlling that little thing instead of trying to manhandle this? So if all you're working is just one little flaw, or you just want to be able to do some quick maintenance and knock out a couple of little burrs here and there from daily throwing, or something that you can literally keep in your pocket while you're out there at your throwing range, so that way you don't have this big monstrosity that you got to go walking back and forth to get. But something that you can keep in your pocket while you're out there throwing, and to do little touch-ups whenever the knives make knife-to-knife contact and give you a burr, that's less time that you're wasting. So just lots and lots of files. They're going to be your friend, because sometimes you need a big monster like this to work lots of material, or you need something like this to do fine detail work, or, you know, another option. It just depends on what you can find and how much you're willing to spend, and how many tools do you want to have. Because I'd rather have way too many tools than not enough, because being prepared is the best way to be when it comes to dealing with anything like this. Just smart, in my opinion, but that's just my 2 cents, and there you have it. Highly, highly, highly endorse the AceJet Apaches. Highly endorse the idea of getting good, high quality professional throwing knives if you're thinking of getting into throwing knives. you know, by the time you've spent $20 or $30 on a couple of cheap sets, you will have spent damn near enough to get at least a set of these. And I mean, like I said, this right here, sheath and all, like 80 or 90 bucks. And a lot of times you can get that where you spend 50 bucks, you're going to get it free shipping. Most of you guys don't need to worry as much about shipping issues as someone like me does that lives off grid, that it has to be shipped by like UPS or FedEx. Because a lot of these companies are trying to basically run with the postal service only, and they will upcharge you if they're going to do other shipping options. But the plain simple fact that I'm making the point of and getting off the topic, buy yourself some good high quality knives. You will not regret it. Whether it's freaking Condors, AceJet, there's some really good Russian companies. Hit up Adam Cheladin at Sharp Blades. His site's got some really good stuff on it, but just stay away from the cheap, absolute garbage production stuff. You will not regret making that choice, in my honest opinion. After throwing knives and being out there, I will tell you that what little maintenance these need from day to day as compared to any of the cheap crap that I've bought is just mind-blowing difference. So, same thing with these. The only maintenance I need on these ones is to make sure that that point stays the way that it's supposed to be. That's the only thing I spend time working, is making sure that that's an actual false edge with nothing sharp on it, so that way I can literally throw this thing freaking military half spin. I mean, these are probably not the most perfect design for it, but for me, man, these things throw freaking killer military half spin out at about 8 or 10 feet. And I can just line these things up. Don't. And I'm getting to the point that I can actually freaking no spin line these things up and stack them. And it's just nice. Quality knives will improve your knife throwing game. Hands down.